Meeting to order, please. Welcome to the styling interest session for our 1981 convention. And we will attempt this morning to, with squared answers, demonstrate some of the preceding year's decisions insofar as styling is concerned and the work of the committee over about the past 5 years. I would sort of like to just briefly bring you up to date. In 1979 convention, the styling committee had worked for the previous 2 years in trying to determine the concept of styling that we felt would most fit most people. And just as it is in our basic definitions, we ran into problems, not insurmountable, but problems because of regional differences. We tried to take a middle-of-the-road approach, and that took a lot of giving and taking on everyone's part. So I would like to express my appreciation to the committee and all their members for actually many of the dancers for the previous 4 years' work. And I suppose that work, insofar as mainstream is concerned, was culminated last year when the convention at large endorsed our principles of styling for all of the mainstream basics, irregardless of what happens in the Basics Definitions Committee insofar as what is added to or deleted from the list, and insofar of whatever order is concerned in which they may appear on that definitions list. So I guess in sort of quick-like terms, that says that we have the styling pretty well defined for all of mainstream, even if the list begins to slide up or down or move around or what have you. So the purpose of this particular interest session was to hopefully help you so that you might understand what we have arrived at as a convention in the previous years, and that it might be useful to you in your particular classes and with your own particular home programs. It sometimes has gotten to be into a touchy subject, and could be that it arises again. But basically, I would also like to express my appreciation to all the callers and dancers who have attended the previous conventions and who have, as I said previously, gave and took, realizing that we couldn't all do everything the same way, that we just exactly had done it for the past 20 years if we were going to be uniform in our particular emphasis on styling. So with that in mind, we would like to sort of get the meeting into order, and I would like to introduce the panel that has been chosen to work with me this morning. And I would introduce, first of all, Mr. Campbell from Fort Collins, Colorado, formerly of Albuquerque, formerly of Fort Collins. But I guess he sort of represents the view of styling in that particular area. But not only that, because Cal has worked very diligently for many, many years through the Lloyd Shaw Foundation, which has great interest in styling and the beauty and the grace of the dance itself. And then we ended up with a gentleman from Far, Texas, but he's really not from Far, Texas. He's from Cheyenne, Wyoming, I believe it is, and parts all over these particular large and beautiful United States, none other than Mr. Jerry Haag. So if you'd welcome those people for me, I'd appreciate that. My name is Melton Luttrell, and I hail from somewhere down Texas way also, and I'll attempt to work as your moderator, and we would feel free for you later on to make comments if you'd like, and we'll try to respond to those as best we can. We brought a square of dancers this morning, and they're all beautifully attired in proper costume. And our purpose, we thought, might be best if we just simply put a square on the floor and begin to dance and illustrate what we had in mind over these past few years to show you, supposedly, if they dance correctly, not only the precision that can be danced, and the intricate figures can as well be danced. All this can be handled with beauty and grace if you just use the proper styling. So I'd like to introduce those people to you. Joe and Cricket Young from San Antonio. You'll just come on, give them a nice little hand there. They'd like that. Chris and Aline Chrysler from San Antonio. Dick and Carol Manning from Oklahoma. Oh, wait a minute. Excuse me. Sit down, Dick and Carol Manning. You're going to be my substitute couple. It just dawned on me. I have really a trouble remembering this family's name. Jones. Vernon Jones and his lovely wife, Shirley. Mother, you're joking. Mother, excuse me. And the Meesiks from Lansing, Michigan. Long-time members. Why don't you take a square out there, gang? Why don't you take a square, and we've arranged a little spot on the floor. And we're going to, at this point, just simply illustrate this session by having these dancers dance right out in the middle, if you would, please. And we have a caller who has called a time or two in the past, who's simply going to put the record on and pick up the microphone and call for these dancers. And then we're going to stop a few times, just sort of stop and go dance, if you will, for illustration purposes. So, Mr. Jerry Haag, if you'll pick up the microphone and commence, we'll go from there. Please observe.
All right. Now, if you're back behind the dancers and would like to adjust, go ahead and do that. We'll try to get this down so that the dancers can hear it all right, but yet maybe not blow you out of your chairs out there, okay? It's awful early in the morning to be doing my first tip, you know that. Hey, down at the partner, why now the corner two, circle to the left around, go, circle on the evening two. Walk out around the corner, lady. See, saw the pretty little song. Then Alabama left with a corner. Go forward, to go right and left to the Alabama darn. Oops in the middle and it gets your star. Get back up now in the middle of the night. Well, to shoot the star and forward to go right and left to the Alabama darn. And one more time to grab your star. Get back right up in the middle of them. Well, to shoot the star and then grand right and left. Go around and go and hang from the hang. And the heat over to and get that girl and they promenade. Why home you go and when you're there.
Now let's take just a minute, if we might, and sort of assess what's happened to date. I'd like for all the couples in the square, please, to honor your partner. I'd like to take mention of one of the styling points that came up in the last 2 years that I was unaware of. You know, for almost 30 years, more than 30 years now, but at that time, almost 30 years, I had taught bow to your partner, in which the gentlemen and the ladies both sort of bowed a little bit from the waist. Well, it seems like if you're put in a position where you are teaching, you sometimes learn more than you teach. And this happened to be my particular case. I learned during these styling sessions that you do not bow if you're a lady, that becomes very unattractive. And I think many of us were unaware of that until we began to research really into what styling is and is not. Ladies should do one of two things. They should curtsy, or they should stand very straight and tall and acknowledge their particular partner. So we simply went to what we call a round dance type of acknowledgement, in which the dancers simply step back straight and tall, weight resting on their back foot, hands joined, and more important than you would think, make eye contact with the person with whom you're acknowledging. And it makes a very beautiful acknowledgement. And the term bow is really sort of just directed to the gents to acknowledge the fact. And if any bow is to take place, it becomes a very slight part on the gentleman's part only. And if the lady wanted to acknowledge that other than just to make the eye contact and balance back, so to speak, it would be with a slight curtsy, which is an acceptable variation in the styling. So then if we were to acknowledge the corner, we would turn and do likewise, but keep holding hands with the partner. And it makes a very beautiful thing, easy to do. It fits in with style and grace and naturalness, which is what we're all striving to get to. All right. Then the part about Alaman left, supposing you take the corner with a forearm position. One of the most abused things we've run into in styling is the so-called Alaman left or forearm grip, in which the lady's arm becomes quite bruised because the gentleman seemed to get a little carried away or flirty or whatever and begin to squeeze on that arm. So if you gentlemen will learn to keep your fingers sort of together and the thumbs close to the finger, at least not a complete wraparound squeezing motion, just the pressure on the inside of the arm produces the desired effect that you need for the turn, gives you the desired results, and it makes a very nice handhold, easy to get into, and we simply call this a forearm turning position. Continue the Alaman left, please. Next point we'd like to make is concerning the handshake grip, which results in any movement in which you pull dancers by. A handshake grip is truly a handshake grip, and we'd like to illustrate to you, and you in turn to your dancers, that we do not mean to put the thumb down against the fingers and inside of the other person's hand, but that the hands are actually interlocked with a thumb on the back of the opposing dancer's hand in a nice firm handshake. Now again, how much is firm? That's a matter of judgment, but you don't want to grip too tightly, but yet you do want to make your presence known, so it's a firm handshake. And as you do a right and a left grand, just a minute, dancers, make note, please, callers, that as the hands are used to be pulling by, they are also released at the point in which your body crosses a common plane. So if you'll continue the right and the left grand, in other words, don't linger with a handhold. Release the handhold as your body crosses a common plane. And then into the promenade, please. If you'll stop in that position for a minute, we'd like to take note that the hands are joined always, gentlemen's palms up, ladies' palms down, and that the center part of those two hands should be equally distributed between the two dancers, not such that the gent is, you illustrate, Chris, you're about the most one. Illustrate how the arms can get out of position, if you would, by sliding the gentleman's arm way over in front of the ladies. Very pleasant for the gentleman, but not really proper. And I suppose if you're dancing with someone and she pulls it over there, well, then just go along with the game. But it is not your prerogative, gents, to put your hand over there. The position for the hand is in between the two bodies. Then if you'll continue to promenade home, we have an optional twirl, and we have tried to emphasize in styling that twirling is more fun for the gentleman than it is for the ladies, and most ladies do not particularly like all the twirling that they are subjected to. So we limited the amount of twirls that we feel are necessary in square dancing. And the one place that we feel it is acceptable one of the places is at the end of a promenade, in which the gent can drop the left hand, and in classes you might even want to emphasize for teaching purposes, if you have trouble with that, say, gents, put your left hand in your pocket just for a few minutes. Now that's very unacceptable styling-wise, but it might be a teaching gimmick. You drop the left hand and the gentleman twirls with the right, making sure the elbow clears the lady's head as she twirls clockwise, and he simply steps back to rejoin hands in the square in a couple position. So if you'll just dry run all of this, bow to your partner and acknowledge your corner and do an Alaman left. Notice the forearm turns, right and left grand with firm handshake pull-bys that stop at the crossing of the plane. Meet your partner with a promenade, and the hands are together inside, elbow high or above, and a nice twirl at the end in which the lady turns clockwise and the gent steps back into the square. Very well done. Jerry, would you continue with the calling, please?
bow to the partner. A corner two and a first and third, up to the middle, and you come right back. You square through and you get all four. Four hands around, you do some do. Well, the one time you go round, you go make an ocean wave and you balance once. Swing through and right about here, the boy run. Couples circulate, bend the line, move into the middle and back. To the right left through and turn your lady now. Pass through and you bend it again. Whoop to the middle and you come right back. Do a square through three. Step out to the line and bend it. Move into the middle and you come right back. Pass the ocean here. Recycle right on around and the basin here. To the right left through and turn your girl. Veer to the left and Ferris wheel. Double pass through and track to the girl. Go left and the boy go right. You swing through right here. Swing through and one more time. Whoa.
Very well done. Jerry, you do a commendable job of calling. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
I never realized the effectiveness of your talent. Very well done. In an ocean wave position, please. One of the styling points that brought up considerable discussion over the past few years, and is still a point of discussion, but one which has been unanimously, that's an incorrect word, I'm sorry, which has been adopted by resolution all the way back as far as 1974, and almost every convention since has been reaffirmed, is a so-called hands up, hands down position. So I guess we later on, if you want to discuss it, we certainly will not shut anybody out insofar as discussion is concerned, but I only want to always emphasize that each year at convention that this has been brought up, the net effect of this convention has always been to, we've got something going, it's controversial, but we voted on it, let's stick with it. So we are illustrating all of those things that have been adopted by convention rather than trying to argue with anybody about it. Whether it's good or bad, we're just saying this is the way we have worked from the first and felt like that this is the way the thing has evolved. The hands up position are really very comfortable once you adjust to learning what you're doing. And such as the forearm turns in Alabama left, or in areas where forearm turns are used for swing through, those are also very comfortable. It's just a matter that you can do either comfortably and without any problem in any movements that you dance, if you just simply make up your mind that those are the things that you're going to conform to and work with. Dancers have no problem at all. The only problem is with the education process of the callers to convince the caller that it can be done. And in particular, the swing through, notice, gang, that the hands are joined fingers together with the thumbs overlapping the back of the other hand. Now, many people seem to, at one time or the other, think that all hands up position involve what we call pigeon wing grips. If you would, gang, illustrate a pigeon wing grip where the thumbs are locked. Now, I danced with this for many, many years and enjoyed it, and still, in my mind, is a very comfortable way to dance. But I'm not pushing that. I simply conformed like everyone else did, or like like everyone on the styling committee, I hope, conformed, and most people did. And we are trying to convince people that you conform. So many years ago, when we came to this, about 4 years ago, well, I just changed over, and this is the way we teach styling, and with the fingers together and the thumbs slightly overlapping the back of the hand. Now, this has a twofold purpose in ocean wave movements. Balances are not used as often as they once were by most callers, but if they are used, and I use them often, it makes a very nice shock absorber for you. You simply can take the hands where the palms are touching and use it much as if you were stepping against a wall to push forward and back with. Let's take a nice balance step, gang. Step, touch, back, touch. All right, and notice that the hands become little springs for you to work in and out with. Also notice the real nice positioning on the ocean wave, a staggered line rather than a line all stacked up in shoulder to shoulder and too tight to work with. Do it again, balance, gang. Notice the footwork has always been, insofar as I know, a balance step, which is a step, touch, back touch, not a drop kick, as many dancers seem to think.
I see a lot of nice drop kickers that I know could qualify probably for the Cowboys. They've needed one for several years, and some of the other gangs. But try to emphasize to your classes, it is not drop kicking or soccer kicking. It's simply keeping your feet on the floor at all times in dancing, in which you step forward and take all of your weight on the foot on which you step. Step up and gang and hold the balance. Step up on it. Notice they're straight and tall, and their weight is on their foot. Straight and tall, distributed above that one foot. The foot in which they step from has been touched to the instep. Touched to the instep. And then it's back, balance back, please, and you're back in a staggered ocean wave position. Then the same hands up hold can be adapted beautifully for the movement of the swing through simply by revolving the wrist very slightly so that you can transform this balance action, shock absorber action, into a slight pulling motion, if you would, just by cupping your hand around just a bit, and you can do a swing through and provide the needed amount of resistance for the swing through. So do a swing through gang just by slight pulling on the fingers, very slight pulls, and the same hand hold works beautifully just with a slight revolve of the wrist. Swing through, just begin to cup the hands and pull with the fingers a little bit. It works beautifully. Jerry, if you'll continue, please.
Where did you leave me?
I don't know who your corner was. You're the caller. I'm just the observer.
Well, quit messing around with my square there. Swing through right here. Boy, run around the girl and now bend the line 8 to the middle and back. Pass through the wheeling deal. Do a double pass through and clover leaf around the go. Zoom right over there now. Square through 3 in the middle and there. Dos combo around and go and make your ocean wave again. A spin chain through and the girls circulate double. Boy, run around the girl right here. You bend that line 8 in the middle and you come right back. Start through, then it pass through. Left down man the corner, come on the back and weave the ring. Dominic, you know, right back home, all the way around the ring we go, and it gets back home, and now, all 8 to the middle, and it come right out. Side stage, grand square, go.
Thank you, Jerry. Just a couple of things we'd like to point out now, particularly on the weave the ring. If you'll do an Allemande left gang, and if you'll weave the ring, I'd like for you to notice that girls have a good opportunity to what we say use skirt work. Now the skirt should be cupped in one hand or the other as you're working, and actually slight rhythmical flourishes are added to the skirt. Notice that the girls lean forward with her right shoulder and her right hand goes forward as she passes right shoulders, and her left shoulder and left hand go forward as she passes left shoulders. Continue to weave the ring. Maybe it's more difficult to do without music, but it's a slight flourish of the skirt, alternating right and left hands. It's not only beautiful to watch, it's easy and nice to do because it provides some little jazz to the dancing sequence that's very enjoyable for the dancer. So it's simply called skirt work, and it's used at your convenience, ladies. Now, what I should say is that I think sometimes it can be overdone and become stuffy and difficult to do, so it should be used in a natural fashion. And in all of our styling, we keep emphasizing the term natural, arms in natural dance position. We don't want to look stuffy with our dancing. We don't want our hands cocked up behind our back in some manner that it begins to feel uncomfortable or look awkward. We simply want to look nice and natural. If you'll just promenade on home, and let's see if I can remember a call at all. I'll try to put them in this one thing because I want to illustrate something. Head star through. That's good. Thank you very much. Do a double pass through. We'd like to point out about the cloverleaf. Jerry had just called it, and I noticed that in cloverleaf, these dancers do it so beautifully it's sort of hard to pick flaws. But in cloverleaf, you should remember that the lead dancers doing the peeling off action, if you would, should step forward and make arcing turns rather than abrupt movements such as in place. and that if you are a trailing dancer, that truly means that you are trailing the footsteps and path of the lead dancer, so that it becomes a beautiful pattern not only to dance but to watch. So if you'll do the cloverleaf gang, do that please. Notice that the minute the dancers become a couple, they rejoin hands in a couple handhold at all times. And if you'll do a double pass through and give me that cloverleaf one more time, lead dancers make arcing turns, trailing dancers truly trail and come into new couple handhold positions. That's very beautiful. If you'll, in the center, star through and back away, and the other two couples go right and left through, and then those side couples face, please. And in the grand square, notice that the hands are, everyone knows it takes 4 counts to each side. That's abused, as we all know. But it also is abused that many of the dancers seem to dance individually, and there's great places for couple handholds in the particular movement of grand square. So do a grand square, gang. And notice the advancing dancers take hands and back away. The incoming dancers take hands and go forward. And each place that you have an opportunity, reverse it, that you have an opportunity to take a handhold and work as a couple, please do so. Very beautifully done. Continue, Jerry. You're calling beautifully. Notice how you're building the dance, the excitement and everything.
It would be great to have the floor full of dancers like that every night, though, wouldn't it? Huh? It's a pleasure to be able to let it time and let it flow and see the styling when it's put together. Sides go forward, up and back. Square 2 in the middle, and you count them 4. 4 hands around, you do sando, way all at one time, and go round ocean wave and then scoot back. Boys trade in the middle, run around that girl, bend the line into the middle and back. To the bottom left 2 and turn your lady now, slide 2. Touch 1/4, walk and dodge. Do a partner trade, reverse your flutter. Sweep it forward, and a lot of left 2 and turn your girl. Steer to the left. Couple circulate, move up. Bend the line into the middle and down. With a lot of left 2 and turn and flutter, we'll say a hot shot. Reverse flutter now. You gotta bring one back, then make your line way whoop to the middle and back.
Beautifully done. Now let's talk about that just a bit. One of the points that came to mind is flutter wheel. We went through quite a bit of soul searching during the committee as we were working with flutter wheel, because we had begun to put emphasis on all handholds as much as we could in palms position, where ladies particularly work. And we felt like the palms up position would be the nice way for flutter wheel to have been written. But it seems to turn out in this instance that we had a conflict with the Basics Definition Committee, and particularly the author, who had written the movement as a turning through type movement in which forearm grips are used. So we had to go back and actually rewrite the styling to conform, and it works very nice. I see no problem with it. It's just a matter if we understand it. And so if you ladies, please, would lead with the flutter wheel very slowly. Notice that the girls take the forearm grip in the center, and the secret to the styling in this particular movement is that the waiting dancer, in this case the gentleman, should move much as you move in an acceleration lane on a freeway. You must be ready to go and anticipate the movement of the oncoming dancer, the lady that will pick you up, and be ready to go and actually accelerate into that lane so that you can be moving with style and grace beside that lady rather than the abrupt pickup that is sometimes used. So ladies, continue your flutter wheel. Gents, move into the acceleration lane and move right across with the lady. Notice that any time you make a line, reach to the side and pick up the hands in the line rather than forward and trying to play patty cake with somebody across the hall. Try to keep your hands in a position for dancing at all times. Gentlemen, hands up, girls, hands down. Constantly reaching to the side or touching to establish the square, to establish the line, to establish the wave, and make your presence known so that the square becomes uniform and you become a helper to the other dancers in the square, a team player rather than an individual who's jumping up and seeing how much fun you can have with this sort of thing. Certainly.
In working with the definitions committee, of course, the definition says come around to the adjacent answer and pick it up. In working with this sort of an action, please remember that what is listed in the styling section and what is listed in the definition itself go hand in hand. And in order not to get the definition so massive that it's hard for anyone to understand, you make the two go hand in hand. And so when you read the definition of flutter wheel, also read the definition of styling. Follow this pattern all the way through. Definitions and styling go 1, 2, hand in hand. And one cannot exist without the other. It was done that way purposely. Thank you.
Please continue, Jerry, and we'll pick them as we go.
Go right to the middle and come right back. To the right left two and turn your lady here. Pass two and bend that line. Whoop to the middle and come right out. To the right left two, put them in the lead now, Dixie style. To an ocean wave. Any balance here? Boy, trade a left swing through. All the girls run around the guys. You'll bend the line 8 to the middle and come right down. Pass through the weaving deal. Get double pass through and peel off. Make a line 8 to the middle and come right down. Pass through, tag your line all the way. Put centers in, cast off. 3/4, 8 to the middle and come right back. Star through, first couple with your partner trade. Do a right left do and turn your ladies. Veer to the left and Ferris wheel. Come to the middle and down. Do it so. Square through, 3/4 round. Find the corner now. Alabama left to the corner. Come back, pollinate, but don't stop and don't slow down. Now 1 and 3, wheel around. Do a right left do and then put her in the lead. Go Dixie style, do an ocean wave.
Very well done. Let's talk about Dixie style. Seems to be a point that we can discuss with some emphasis insofar as the gentleman's part on styling is concerned. If you'll do a center's trade, please, and then a left swing through, and the girl run around the gentleman and bend the line, and as you do so, we're going to put the ladies in the lead to a Dixie style in just a minute. But what I want you to notice, please, callers, is that the gentleman's part should be one of positioning. Now, if you want to have a lot of trouble with your class, is just teach Dixie style and don't emphasize this particular point. Do not emphasize the fact that the gentleman must clear the way for the lady to come across. Have him just stand there, and you'll always have trouble with those gentlemen getting in there. Maybe I approached that the wrong way with reverse psychology. I should accentuate the positive. Accentuate the fact that as the lady leads for a Dixie style, that the gentleman must step to the right to clear the path for the oncoming lady so that his left hand becomes dominant. So if you ladies will start the Dixie style, gentlemen, step to your right, raise your left hand, clear the path, and then move into the center for the ocean wave. It's so important in your styling that you emphasize that part of this particular movement is that the gent must move to the right to clear the position for the lady. And he does that with just a natural type movement, no flourishes. If you gentlemen will trade and left swing through, and the girl run around the boy and bend the line, and ladies in the lead with a Dixie style to an ocean wave, makes a very beautiful companion movement put together. Thank you. Boys, please cross run. Good. Recycle. Veer right. Bend the line. Should be home. I think I got them home for you very nearly.
Very good, Melton.
Continue.
Yeah, slide around to your home position. Very good. All 8 to the middle and you come right out. Then all 4 ladies chain, turn the girl around. Let's circle to the left when you come down. Circle to the left, go round and go. Now ladies in the men's sachet. Do the ladies in the men's sachet. Do Do an Alabama left with a corner, swing the partner. Promenade you go, take a little walk, but don't stop and don't slow down. Now 1 and 3, gonna wheel right around. Do the right and left 2 and turn your girl. Go 8 to the middle and back once more. Star 2. Then a right and left 2 and turn your girl. Do an 8 chain through. All the way.
Jerry had a point he wanted to make about 8 chain through, so Jerry, you just go ahead and make the point, please.
Well, I think probably one of the more abused things that we see as callers, and I'm sure you're running into the same thing, is the courtesy turn being left off of the outside turn on the 8 chain throughs. It becomes almost a circle rather than keeping the formation in an 8 chain through position. And it provides not only smooth dancing for the dancer, but provides the same ending formation that you started in, and that is a little unusual unless you call for an 8 chain 3. Sometimes they can't even do an 8 chain through. By the time they get there, they've got all kinds of formations simply because of the courtesy turn not being used on the outside.
I'm just going to reiterate what you said. It's important that you teach dancers to remain in the column formation as you're doing the 8 chain through, or this double pass through position, or whatever this position is, box you call it, whatever it is. You can work various formations out of this, but this particular formation should stay squeezed together rather than blend out into an 8 shape or a circle. I think it's important you notice that. Take them on, Jerry, for a little bit.
Do it a sound of and around, go in one time and make your way to swing 2. Boy, run around the girl, in it in your line 8 to the middle, and you come right down. Right and left 2 and turn them here with a flutter, wheel it around and go. Let's start 2 and then do the right and left 2 and turn that girl to an 8 chain 5. Alabama left below left hand, come right back and weave the ring. Oh, weave it down and go all the way around. Meet your doll, promenade to go around that hall. Back home and go.
Mannings, suppose you and Carol dance in the square. One of you couples like to let the Mannings dance for a minute?
Oh, I think all 4 would like.
Change out a little here.
Did you manage all 4 positions?
Well, I had a good substitute couple, and I didn't want them to sit on the bench through the whole game. You know, you got to give them a little playing time. Thank you, Joe and Cricket. You did beautifully. Okay, if you will, let's continue this for a little bit. I'd like to do this for you, and I'll just do this without the music for a minute. Do an Alabama left. And you had just said a minute ago, swing your partner, and promenade her, please. Very good. Now then, I'd like to talk about a thing that brought up considerable discussion in previous years for committee styling. We really worked on this diligently, and we came up with what we feel is a nice interpretation for swinging. Face your partner, take in your arms. Many parts of the country use buzz steps, so we had to conform to fit as many people as possible. We picked what we thought was the dominant method of swinging, in which you simply walk around swing using nice, graceful walking steps, shorter steps on the inside foot naturally than on the outside foot. But be sure that you take nice posture when you teach your dancers. Notice the mesics. The gentleman is standing outside. He is in close to the lady where he has control, and yet he stands straight and tall. And they're simply going to walk around each other. All 4 dancers, please do it. A nice walk around motion. Very good. Now those dancers, as they keep her in swinging position, this time I'm going to put you into promenade without the twirl. So if you'll just simply swing the girl one time around, and notice the girl just simply unfolds into a promenade position, which seems to be the most desired effect you can get with styling, and dancers seem to prefer this. Now then, we put in an option that allows a twirl, and it's very nice. If you'd like to teach it, we have no objection to it. Do an Alabama left. Come back and swing your partner. And this time, sort of freeze the swing right here, please, right there. Now, a little bit further where you're in promenade position, gentlemen. Teach your dancers, if you would,
as you blend into the promenade, that the lady should be able to free her right foot. Her weight should be on her left foot. Her right foot should be free, and she will actually take 3 twirling steps down line of dance. Now the emphasis is that a twirl is down line of dance in which you actually pivot towards the center, towards the wall, and back towards the center, and then on the 4th step the hands should come together in the promenade. So you have 4 counts, which gives you plenty of time to do a nice twirl. The gentleman uses his left hand as a stabilization force, just to guide the lady, not crank, not twirl, but merely provide support and stability for the lady. Hands should be loosened. Only contact is necessary as the lady takes 3 walking steps down line to twirl, right, left, right, and on the 4th step would blend together with the gentleman in a promenade. You may have to swing again to get the proper emphasis, gang, so swing her one more time. She's going to free her right foot. Start. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the 4th step you hit the promenade hand note beautifully, and you did it great, gang, without even practice. That's very nice. Do an Allemande left. Come back and swing your partner, and then blend her right into the promenade. You did it beautifully. No problem at all. Now then, the thing that I would like to point out from a personal standpoint is things that I feel are bad. I feel this is very bad. Do an Allemande left, swing your partner, twirl her at the end of it, and circle left. Now, I didn't warn the gang or anything about that to overdo it, but you could see yourself the effect. It's bad for the ladies. It's bad for the styling picture. It's bad from a dancing standpoint. It puts pressure on the lady because you have all of your flow headed in a counterclockwise direction at that time. Insofar as the circle is concerned, your body's moving that way, and then you abruptly start back the other way. Let's do it again. Allemande left. Swing your partner. Put the twirl at the end of it and start your circle left. And you're going to see the awkwardness of it. See, nothing works. And Shirley didn't do that on purpose. It just does not work. So, a thing that I also object to, and I can't, this is personal standpoints now. I object to this. Allemande left, swing your partner, and just stay at home and twirl her. I also object to that. It puts the girl just in pivoting steps around a particular place there. She's just moving around in a big bundle without any place to go. Twirls, I think, should be used as part of the body movement. And once again, I'll illustrate the difference for you. Allemande left, swing your partner, and this time put her into a promenade with a twirl, and you see it all flows together. It moves right into the line of dance without any problem. So if you'll just be careful where you teach the twirls, if you're going to use them, I think you'll have better luck with your dancers and better response from your dancers. All right. Can we move along a little further, Jerry? Let's hit a few more, and then we'll begin to take questions.
Now 2 and 4, move up to the middle, and it come right back. Square 2, and it come down. Make a right-hand star, turn once around. Side star by the left, all the way around the go. Do star, do around the go, and at one time you're gonna make your way, but again swing 2. Boy, run around that girl, you'll bend the line, move up to the middle and back. Now past the ocean, all 8, do a circulate. Swing 2 right here. Boys, run around the girl once more, you bend no line, zip to the middle and down. Pass through the wheeling deal. Double pass through. First couple do a partner trade. All touch a quarter. Walk and dodge. Partner trade. Reverse flutter. One time you're going to bring right back. Then pass through. Bend the line and move and go. You start moving now. Veer to the left. 2 ladies trade. Wheel and deal. Come right around the face. Right on left 2 and turn. Make a right hand star. Sides back to the middle, make a left-hand star. Go all the way.
Freeze right here, dance, where you get to your corner. Or whatever girl you're going to. Come ahead, Shirley. Freeze right here, where you can make a new star.
All the way around.
That's good, right there. You make a star with those people. Right there's fine. Just where you can make a star right here, a right-hand star. Make a right-hand star. There you go, right there, please, thank you. Okay, notice the star position is what we call a hands-up star, meaning that, or a palm star, meaning that the palms are just simply bunched together. We don't try to make a big grabbing effort of it. We just simply put the hands together in a touching fashion in which the fingers are all pointed toward the ceiling. The emphasis is the fact that the star is average eye height. Now, everybody don't have their eyes. That the elbow is bent and that the hands are pointed up and the fingers are pointed up and the hands are simply joined together in the star. It's not a grabbing star such as a pack saddle or a box or anything of that matter. Just simply touch the hands in a palm-up star. If you will, go ahead and turn that star. Meet in the center, those same, side couples with a left-hand star. That's very good. Just simple touching stars. Please continue, Jerry. They're back right there. That's not, well, you see where they are. I'll leave that up to you.
Face the outside. Face the outside, people. Do a sando and around we go. One time and then swing through everybody. Boy, run around a girl right here. Couples circulate. You'll bend the line into the middle and down. Pass the boys, run right. Do a center's trade. Swing through. Girls run to the right. 8 to the middle and it can run back, touch a quarter, circulate. Boy, run around a girl right here, trade by everybody, swing through right now. Boy, run around a girl, bend the line, go up and down. Do a right or left through and turn your lady, roll a girl with a half sachet and whoop to the middle and it can run back. Do a box and that, look him in the eye. Do a right or left through and turn the girl. Curlicue one time in a single circulate. Boy, run.
Great. Do a star through, please. Do a half sachet. Thank you. Boy, you did it. I'm proud of you. And if you would, I'd like to emphasize box the net for a minute. Box the net, we had several different variations that come to us from different sections of the country. We finally settled on what we felt was the most agreed upon usage of box the net, in which the hands are held together in what we term a loose hand grip, meaning that the gentleman just extends his hand to the lady very loosely. So right hands together with the opposite person, hold it very loosely, and the hand is simply just going to revolve around, just touching more than anything else. No gripping, no wrist turning, just simply let the girl back under the boy's arm just with a loose hand grip. Be sure you maintain hand grip after it's over. Continue with the box the net. Comes down into a handshake grip. Into a handshake grip with a right and a left through. And this time, since we got a right and a left through, put a roll away with it. That's great. Go forward and back. And then box the net. Just slide hand pressure under, coming into the hand grip at the finish with a right and a left through. Very beautifully done. Do a star through, and this time a half sachet. We don't want to roll away there. Great. Box the net. Very beautifully done. Right and left through. This time we want to roll away. That's great. Do a star through and a partner trade. And then we came to curlicue, and this is something I had never worked with in my life. And again, I'm emphasizing that being on a panel or a committee, if you really work at it, you sometimes gain more than you contribute. And I know that was in my case happened to me. I learned so much from this. I am so happy to have been a part of it, because I had never thought of this curlicue with the so-called back of the hand concept, and I objected to the thought of it at first because I thought it looked terrible. But when I began to work with it, it's a very nice way, and whoever thought of it, and I received letters on it, I don't recall who now wrote me the first letter about it, but I'm very pleased that they did, because it worked out very nice for us. And if you'll just teach it to your dancers, you'll too find that they enjoy this particular way to curlicue. If the ladies will put their hand in front of their face, so to speak, as if they're going to put their fingers over the eyes, is the way I teach it. Make out like you're going to put your fingers over your eyes, but really put them out in front just a little bit, which gives you this effect. And then the gentleman, as if you were going to put your fingers over the lady's eyes, but put it over the back of her hand. And this starts the motion for the curlicue. The back of the hand concept is what I'll call it. And then continue the curlicue, and it revolves very beautifully into a hands-up position, is what we mostly use after the curlicue. It works licking a whistle. This is not really kosher, but if you'll just sort of turn and face that particular girl you're holding hands with, please. Okay. Once again, remember, girls, using the back of the hand, and fellas, if you'll just let the hand revolve around, it works beautifully. Curlicue. Great. Boy, run around the girl. And box the net. Great. From here, if you would, please, do another box the net. I didn't mean to do that. I'll go ahead with our right and left through. Roll away. Star through. California twirl. Curlicue. Single file circulate. Boy run around the girl. Star through. They're yours, Jerry. Please continue.
Very good. You might keep in mind, girls, it's one of the few times you can legally give that opposite man a backhand. Right? Moving to the middle and it can run back. Past the ocean, now spin the top. Boy, run around a girl right here. Wheel and deal out to the line. Do a right and left through and turn your girl. Pass through and bend it again. A zip to the middle and it can run back. Now past the ocean, spin the top one more time. Boy, run around that girl. Now wheel and deal, bring them out to the line. Reverse flutter, left hand guys. Bring one back, sweep 1/4, veer to the right. Circulate. You'll bend the line into the middle and you come right down. Right and left through and turn your girl. Pass through the wheel and deal. Double pass through. Foot centers in, cast off. 3/4 round, 8 to the middle and you come right back. Star through. Do a double pass through. Put the centers in.
Here was a point that was brought up yesterday, and I'll discuss it with you. And really, we haven't done a lot of talking about this, and I think it's a point that's misunderstood by dancers. If the trailing dancers, formerly the trailing dancers, the centers at this point, would back up just a bit, please. Sort of dance slow motion for us. Slide together, heads. The centers in portion requires some adjustment on your handholds. Now, then, many dancers have been taught, and I think it's quite nice. I see nothing wrong with it, but we want to talk about a concept now. Many dancers have been taught that the dancers doing the center in portion, the ones that becoming the new center, are going in with hands, is it up or down, Jerry? How did you normally teach it? Hands down? The approaching dancer coming in with hands down? Hands up.
Center's hands
well,
up.
Yeah,
Outside
the centers were the hands up, right? I think a lot of the dancers, including Jerry, had taught this, the dancers doing the center in portion had come in with hands up, meaning the end dancers would always have hands down. So slide apart and put those hands down, and the center dancers come in with hands up. Now, this is a way I think that many dancers had been taught. I also think that many dancers had never been taught anything. I think a lot of dancers were taught to hook an elbow or something of that, which is really not good styling in my estimation. So if you'll back up, dancers, the part that we finally arrived on last year, and I guess it can be a subject to some discussion, but that we decided that anytime we have a mixed set square, is that the dancer on the left, sometimes called the Bose position, should use a boy's type hand grip in which his hands is turned palm up. And the dancer on the right, be it boy or girl, should use the hands down motion when forming a couple grip. So this would make a very nice way to teach all of your dancers. The entire concept is that if you have mixed set squares, have the left hand dancer palms up, the right hand dancer palm down, and it would sort of destroy a little bit some dancers and callers' concept of what centers in is, but it can be adjusted very easily. So this time, if you'll slide out ends and centers come in, notice that one boy has the hand down, and that's the boy coming in, dancing the girl's position, the right-hand position. And the girl that came into the center with hands up, the other girl hand down. Back up one more time. There's a nice point that was made yesterday in committee meeting, because the dancers parting already have that hand in that position. Boys hand up, girls hand down. It becomes an easy thing to do. Left-hand dancer always has that hand up. Then the hands are adjusted by the dancers coming into the center. So do a centers in and cast off 3/4. Very good. Centers star through. Outside star through also. Centers, everybody double pass through and put centers in and cast off 3/4. Very nice. Continue, Jerry. We're there. Where do you want to go from here? Well, we just need an Alabama bar for sure, and I'm pretty close to winding up.
Take to the middle and it come right back. Pass through, wheel and deal, come right in, square through 3. Boys reaching with the left hand of courtesy, turn that girl. Do deep to the middle and you come right back. Start through, do a pass through and trade by. Swing through now. Turn through, find the corner, left out a man, bend forward 2, right and left and out a man, bar to the middle and you get your star. You back and down in the middle of the night.
Now, we'd like to talk with precinct dancers, and this is the one place now where we went back to the so-called pack saddle grip. It was felt that any backing up star could be enhanced with a so-called pack saddle grip. And we'd like to emphasize that you emphasize to your dancers to keep the box small in the center. In other words, let the hand make sure it's on the wrist rather than sliding all the way up to the forearm. Keep it nice and compact in the center for a wrist grip. There you go. Continue, Jerry.
Going back right up in the middle of the night. Back along down, hold on tight. Now shoot the star, hold on to an Alamo style in your balance here. Swing through and then you'll balance now. Swing through and forward 2 and a rocket. Swing through and meet your partner, turn through. Do an Alabama left with a corner there to come right back and you promenade around the go and take a little walk around. You do get home and when you're there.
All right, we'd like for at this time to, I just wanted to make one other point I happened to think of. Head couples star through, pass through, and a right to left through, and veer left. And we'd like to illustrate something that most of you are already doing, but it's a nice teaching habit. When you advance forward for the Ferris wheel, be sure and notice that the girls are touching right hands in the center, emphasizing the fact that it's a two-face line in the center before the wheeling action. So Ferris wheel, advancing dancers touch right hands oh so slightly before they start the wheeling action. Centers pass through and a right and a left through. Veer to the left, please, and do a Ferris wheel. Beautifully done. Square 3. Alley. Stop. That's good. Dancers, you danced beautifully. I hope that all of you in the audience enjoyed their dancing. We thank you so very much. I'd like to turn the... Now, you may be needed for a few minutes, so if you'll sit close. I'd like to turn the mic over to Cal Campbell just for a minute, and then we're going to have a comment or so from Cal and Jerry, and then we'd like a few questions.
Yeah, he said keep it to less than 3 minutes. One of the things that we hope to do is to be able to give you some sort of ideas of how to teach styling. We've had a very nice demonstration, but there's 2 or 3 points that since I've got 3 minutes, you're just going to skim the top. Number 1, dancers will not learn how to style until they dress for square dancing. If you're out there teaching lessons and you have a situation in which you allow your dancers to come in jeans and T-shirts and awkward boots, they're never going to learn how to style. They have to feel good about themselves. When you think about it, part of square dancing is playing a part. They are actors on the floor. Once they feel that they are acting and they are part of it, they're going to style properly and feel good about it. All right, number 2, we've had a beautiful illustration of music and timing. You can teach all the styling in the world and stand out there and do all the preaching in the world about styling that you want to, but one of your best 2 aids are, number 1, good music. Music that allows the dancers to style. And number 2, time enough to style. If you've got your dancers crowded so hard on their dancing by the music or by your particular timing in calling, your dancers aren't going to style. They're having a hard enough time getting from point A to point B. And so if you want stylish dancers, you must give them the time to do so. They must also have the time to practice. Think about your lesson schedule. Are you hurrying through the mechanics of teaching all the basics that we have so fast that you just kind of zip by styling and don't give them a chance to practice? Every once in a while, have a tip during your lessons, in fact, I would say quite frequently, in which you spend your time not teaching something new in terms of a basic, but in teaching them to style and giving them time to practice styling. One more short item. The problem with these things is the fact that you always run short of time. But one more short item that I would like to put in is square dancing is a great deal of dancing with the hands. And a great deal of what you're being shown today is dancing that requires hands and hand movements. And one of the things you're going to have to do as a caller is go out and look at couples that are out there dancing on the floor and analyze what's going wrong. And I would strongly encourage you to look at the mechanics of what is happening with the hands in relationship to what is happening with the body. Because if you get those two things straight, the feet will follow automatically, believe me. And a lot of times if you will take a look at a couple and they're not doing something quite right, look at what's happening with the hands, all right? Mainly, and look at what is happening with the gentleman's hand in support of the lady. A whole lot of what's written down in those styling sections has to do with this. But if you'll analyze what's happening to the couple in terms of the support of the lady, then you're going to find that a whole lot of things will start to disappear, and you'll be able to show a man where to put pressure in something we call counter dancing. From the standpoint that you can hold the hands in the right place, but if you don't apply the pressure in the right place, so that you have a supportive structure there for the lady to support against while she does a turn or a balance or any one of these other things, you are probably going to have trouble. And so take a look at this sort of thing. It's like the cupping action on the curlicue. Part of that cupping action is applying pressure or a support so as that lady turns, she feels secure in that turn. Body mechanics. That's my 3 minutes. Thank you.
I just want to inject one short comment. I think probably one of the things that we can do as callers to promote styling is, of course, to allow the dancers enough time to do the calls. If we don't allow the time for them to complete the call and add the styling to it, of course we're talking about timing, but timing is styling. Without one, you don't have the other. And give the people enough time to complete the calls. If you give them the time and they're not going to use the time to do it, eventually they will. Eventually they will. If you ask the head couples to go forward and back and give them the 8 counts to go forward and back from a static square from a home position, they're going to take it. They'll start taking it rather than stand there for 7 counts. Sometimes they'll just take one, sort of a lean forward, and that's about it, and then they're ready to go again. But if you give them the time and allow them the time to do it, and you do it and repeat it enough times, they'll start dancing it for you. It's better than standing there doing nothing. Most of the time, you'll have to lead them a little bit, but they'll do it for you. So give them enough time, and then I think it'll help your timing as well.
Thank you, Jerry. I'd just like to add that, and thank you, Cal. I'd just like to add the one comment very quickly about styling. Styling begins in class, just like choreography does, like basic does. And if you really want to come out with dancers that are comfortable and that will stay with you, because styling adds life to dancers. If you want to increase your dancer life, teach them styling. They're going to stay with you longer, because the rougher dancers tend to blow out of the picture sooner. Work from the very first night. Emphasize hand position. Emphasize body position. Emphasize the fact that it's comfortable and natural, but yet not too exuberant. I try to tell my dancers that if you want a lot of fun in square dancing, learn to do it together at the same time. That's where the real enjoyment in square dancing comes, is working as a team, 8 dancers doing the same thing at the same time in the same way. And I said, compete with yourself in your square. Make an effort to see how very good you can be as you're dancing. Have some confidence and pride in your square that you are doing this particular basic the very best way it can be done, that you really are working so that it becomes natural for you to do it. It's a nice, easy feel. You were very attentive this morning. We're very appreciative. We'd like to take about 12, 13 minutes we have left for questions from the floor. And if you would, if you want to be recorded, you'll have to come up to this microphone, or else we'll have to repeat your questions because we're not on the house sound, as you've noticed. So I'd welcome questions from you or comments. Yes, ma'am. Just please come on up. It won't take but a minute. And we have a microphone for you, and that way you'll be recorded for all of history to remember. State your name and so forth.
Phyllis Gilson from Michigan. I'd just like to see you do a little bit on recycle.
On recycle. Square, would you get very quickly? And the emphasis on recycle, of course, is that we do not use the hands. That was written in the basic and definitions, and we try to emphasize that fact that we do not. The styling reads, all dancers, arms in natural dance position, hands ready to adjust to the next call as quickly as possible. The starting formation is an ocean wave, and the ends of the wave cross-fold as the centers of the wave fold in behind the ends and follow them on around to face in as a pair. Continue, Jerry. Oh, he's already put his record up. Change records for him.
I got 2 of them. Come prepared.
Well, I'm out of the park here, 8 corner 2, first and third, up to the middle, and you come right back. Square through and they go down, 4 hands around the ring they go. No side around, go ocean waving down, ladies trade, recycle right on around and then start doing here the right left do, turn your lady, past the ocean in the girls trade, recycle. Left do, turn your lady, veer to the left, do a Ferris wheel, come right into the middle, spread in the middle, outside to get in, 8 in the middle and back, pass through the wheeling deal, girls come in, girls make an ocean wave, swing through, recycle, then zoom, and the boys swing through, recycle, zoom, girls pass through, touch 1/4, boy trade, boy run. You'll bend the line into the middle and you come right back and start through. Dive into the middle and zoom, get out of there now. Pass through. Alabama left, put a left hand and come back home and say, whoa.
Beautifully done, dancers. Does that illustrate the point? The nice thing to know about recycle is if you work it and teach it from the very first night, and emphasize as it is written, the no-hand concept, so to speak, then it becomes much easier for you to teach all position with that. Boys can easily follow boys and girls follow girls, or in any manner, if you just drop that old hands business. Just let them peel off and follow them. Very well done. Thank you. John Jones asked me to apologize to you in the group for the temperature being very cold this morning. They're trying to get it adjusted, and we just either seem like we have problems in these kind of things, and he's doing the best he can, and I'm sure the hotel staff is working to correct that position. Other questions, please, or comments? We welcome you. Yes, ma'am? And anyone else that would like to, we have a few minutes left. If you want to sort of be up here and be ready, maybe line up, we can speed things up a bit.
Marjorie Brown, I'd like to know, do you encourage your classes to wear, the women to wear dresses? instead of slacks? Because invariably they wear pants and slacks.
Well, no, ma'am, I don't. And maybe I probably am out of order for that. But if being truthful, no, ma'am, I don't. I do not require classes to wear dresses. We emphasize to them that as they're working some of the movements, that they have to practice a little bit with their hands to get used to when they do get their square dance costumes. And somewhere about the middle of the class, we usually have what we call a petticoat party, and we'll have someone in with one of the dress shops to come in and visit with the dancers and put on a little style show for them. And the lady usually chooses some of our dancers that haven't been in square dance clothes before as her models. And you know how awkward it is to begin with, but at least it begins to get them acquainted with it. We do not require it. I'm not saying that it is proper the way I handle it, but I was being honest. We don't require that.
Look this way. Yes, ma'am, I do.
Thank you.
I get 30 seconds more. The reason is this. Number one, I feel you should play fair with the dancers that are coming to your class. And so before the third night, when they close out, I say, ladies, there's something that we feel you must do, and gentlemen, there's something we feel you must do. And that's the fact that part of square dancing is costuming. And therefore, we will ask that you come in at least a full skirt. I don't make a square dance skirt mandatory. And gentlemen, we want you to wear a long sleeve shirt. Now, this is part of what I feel is playing fair with the dancers from the standpoint they should realize when they start square dancing that this is part of it. And if they aren't willing to make this part of what they do in square dancing, then I should tell them before they pay their money. But more importantly, styling starts as soon as I can get it going. And that means skirts on the ladies, long sleeve shirts on the men, and making them get to the feeling of where they are starting to play the part of being a square dancer. And to me, we're different in this part of the philosophy. To me, this does not start. All right, the same thing is if angels come to help, they come in proper square dance attire every time. Now, I've had very good success with this. I undoubtedly have had some people walk out the door and say, well, if that's the way you're going to be, I'm not going to learn how to square dance. And I feel bad about it, but I'm sorry. I would much rather have them find it out to start with and get halfway through the lessons after they've invested X number of dollars and suddenly find out they're going to have to go out and buy some clothes. Now, that's just a difference in the two ways, but I wanted to say that much. Thank you.
Thank you, Cal. Very nice. I'll say again, I'm sure I don't follow with the rules properly on that. I'm just being honest with you in the way I do it. Yes, sir, please come forward. Anyone else that has a comment? We still have time. We still have about 5 or 6 minutes left.
I have a comment and a question. On recycle, I discovered this year for the first time that if you have both the boys and the girls learn to cross-fold from the end of an ocean wave very thoroughly, that they can learn to do a recycle very easily also. The question, are we going to get some kind of illustrated booklet explaining the approved styling program to give to our dancers soon?
I'm not for sure about an illustrated booklet, but if you'll look in June Direction of 1980, it has a complete definition, styling, and timing list put together in June of 1980. And if you don't have that, I think you could probably get it through the CALLERLAB office. It has a complete written description of all the basics, definitions of the timing, the starting formations, and of the styling that's written. But I can't answer the part insofar as illustrated is concerned. Thank you for your comment on the recycle. Yes, sir?
I'm Karen Johnson from Reading, Iowa, and a lot of my dancers, when you have the heads lead right and circle to a line, and they'll veer out, like they... What do you feel about that?
Well, I'm sorry we didn't illustrate that. It's written very explicitly, and I just failed to illustrate it. I'm sorry. You want me to take a minute and illustrate it? Please get the dancers.
I had it back in my case again.
Well, instead we only had 5 minutes left, I'll illustrate that. Okay. You'll bow to the partner, take corner 2, well, the first and third, up to the middle, and you can rock back. Leap to the right, little up forward, hit in, break to the line, up forward, stand. Ready to the middle, and you can rock back. I'd like to read it for you. The circle portion is the same styling as in Circle 8. As the man breaks with his left hand to form a line, he should lead the line several steps before turning. After the in lady has released right hands and while retaining the right hand of the man beside her, together they will raise their joined hands and make an arch. Then as the line begins to straighten out, she will move forward under this arch, turning left face gradually under her own left arm so that instead of backing up, she is moving forward to the end of the line. Now, break that down just a little bit, if I might. If you'll lean over and circle again. Same couple, circle. No, in fours, please. Circle, in fours. Notice now, keep circling, and as the lady starts to break the line, the hand is joined. The lady walks out forward to the end position of the line rather than trying to back up to it. Once again, circle 4. And I think you should emphasize to the dancers that as you break, the gentleman goes around and breaks in the proper place. If he doesn't break too soon, he'll leave that lady room to walk into the end position of the line. It's important that you emphasize to the man that's making the arch that he not break too quickly. Once again, circle 4. And that gent should not break too quickly. Let it break on so the lady can walk forward to the end position of the line. Does that illustrate it for you, sir? No, I know. You're talking about where one couple actually slides or veers in front of the other. I think that's sometimes been referred to as slide to a line. And that is not the way it's written. Now, if you might talk to the Basics Definition Committee and see if they put that one in. But we only are describing the way it was written. And our function is to style what was written. And I personally don't like the other, but I'm just saying, as a point in order, that if it were a basic and was written and approved, we'd try to style it. Okay? Yes, sir?
Clyde Houston, just one point on this I'd like to ask. Where does the ladies right circle to the line, where does that end? Normally you see the dancers racing up and touching, and I know these didn't. I'd just like to know where it's supposed to end.
The line ends in a facing in line position. Is that it's not forward and back unless it's called. Is that what you mean?
The break, the gent that breaks. Right, the gent that breaks, in other words, from here we have the heads lead to the right, circle to the line, head gent break to the form of the line. Now the head gent doesn't simply break and stop. He has a little more work to do before that line is completed. In other words, as the rest of the line starts to unfold and the lady walks through the arch on the other end, he's actually taken a couple of steps forward to line the line up with that lady as she finishes, leaves our lines instead of spread apart. We're in a good dance position, close enough to start the next call. If we ask for a forward and back, they're in good shape to go forward and back. The call does not end until that lady has moved through the arch, has made her turn, and she's faced in. The gent that broke has moved forward, and we're in good lines.
The answer to your question, Clyde, I don't think has been defined. I'm not aware of it. I would say it's about 4 feet across. You want the explicit distance in between, or exact distance.
The question is, should we go forward and back, or can we do another call without forward and back?
Oh, certainly they can do another call without forward and back. It breaks into a static line, and forward and back would have to be called. I have to stop. That's the last question I can field. I would like for you to thank our dancers, the panel, and listen just for a minute. I would like to thank you for your attention, and I would pass this on to you. If you will help us with styling, we would appreciate it. It's going to increase